Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show. What's up, everybody? Another week, another edition of the show. This week, I got my boy Treebo. great guy, better singer, Van Royden, from back in the day. We're going to talk some music, some lifestyle stuff, and just have a good time. So first and foremost, welcome to the show, Treebo.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate the kind words about my singing. I would say negligible, I passable at best.
Well, I mean, why would you say passable? I mean, you've played a ton of shows in your lifetime. Yeah. You've traveled the world singing. So why would you only say passable? It had to be something that somebody fucking liked for you to be able to go out and do it.
I think I think it stems back to when we first started in the early 2000s. It was me and my brother, who was a drum player for Royden, and his best friend Kerry decided to start a band with our one friend Ryan. And out of the four of us, we had to draw straws to see who would sing. And I think I got the short end of the stick on it, so I ended up being a singer / songwriter. Terrible at first, and then I guess you just learn how to do it eventually. Or auto-tune is good enough where it just kind of fixes your problems. And so I just kind of, whenever someone says, "Oh man, you're a good singer," I always think back to the first couple of shows that we played, and I didn't want to ever look at the crowd, and it's just kind of almost embarrassing to be up there singing. I think I'm a lot more confident now, obviously, but so whenever someone's like, "Oh man, you're great."
All right. So, I mean, if we want to be fully honest and transparent, when you guys came about in 2003, I mean, singing didn't need to be the most prevalent fucking thing in the world, right? I mean, it was about the music. It was about the art. I mean, if anybody ever wanted to tell me that fucking Cedric from At the Drive-In's a great singer all the time, I'd tell you your ears don't work. But I mean, it was at that time, it was more like, hey, let's have some great music and we'll figure the vocals out as we go along. So, I mean, you were kind of being shy for no reason on stage, because at that point in the early stages, it didn't matter.
Yeah, you can't tell Jeff Rickley, and he was a great singer when Thursday's first CDs came out,
Yeah, no. there's some moments in that, full collapse where you're just like, whoa, but it didn't matter because it all worked together.
Well, I always think powerful lyrics, powerful songs can trump pretty much anything, even going to Bright Eyes and Conor Oberst, or even Elliott Smith. I mean, I don't think you'd ever be like, oh man, what great vocalists. They're not throwing out Jeff Buckley's or Verbanos or anything like that. So, but their lyrical content was always on point. I think that's in our first iteration of our EP writing. I tried to focus more on that. Again, maybe it was because of the fact that I thought I wasn't a good singer, and I was like, well, if I make the lyrics good, then maybe that will just trump everything else.
Well, it did. I mean, you guys, from putting out that first EP, getting signed to Hopeless. I mean, so there had to have been some people that saw all the good in the total package, right? And at that point, you kind of had to have a vocal presence. So I think in a short period of time, it all manifested and worked itself out the way it was supposed to.
Oh, definitely. And like you said, it's we got recognized by Genko Records, which is a local record company from New Jersey at the time. They had a couple bands like Post Break Tragedy, and they had what's it? Not Bad Light for Blue Eyes. I can't remember what the other names were, but they had more hardcore bands, and we came through, and Anthony LaSala, who we're still friends with now. I just saw him this past summer, him and his son, and he kind of saw something in us. Was like, hey, if you guys want to record an EP, I'll front you guys the money. We'll press it. And I think pretty quickly, within the first couple weeks of us putting our CD out, we sold a couple thousand copies and started getting some notoriety. I don't know if you ever remember smartpunk.com. Do you remember SmartPunk? Okay.
Yep.
Well, we were the number one selling CD on their online store. over like Under Oath, They're Only Chasing Safety, and like some other like pretty notable rock bands, even Circus Survive and Seos, and for I think it was like 6 or 7 months, we were the number one selling CD on the site. So they even did
So
a promo.
what did that do for your confidence as a singer?
I think it just, I'm a pretty modest person. I'm not very, um, I don't really have that. Maybe people will say back then I did, but I don't really have that big of an ego. So the bigger shows got, I think the more nervous you get, kind of originally, and then it's just like it's like riding a bike. I could go up on stage now and perform. To the best of my ability. I think it would be a little bit less intense of a show as it was when I was in my 20s, but I'd at least try.
Yeah. Now, when it all happens, because it really did happen pretty fast, right? There's bands that go out there and really push and work really hard, and they get like 5 albums in, and then finally it's like, oh, there's their break, right? So when you guys kind of got noticed pretty quickly, was there any I mean, as a 20-year-old, I understand that it's not you're worried about yourself, but was there any like, oh man, I can't believe that band that we played with forever isn't in the same position that we are?
Yes and no. I think it's always weird. Again, the trajectory that we had, because in reality, our CD was only out for 6 months before we got signed. So that, or we're starting to get noticed to get signed. We had a couple different offers come in from a couple different people. It's a good, I always looked at everybody as peers, even the people that were opening up shows for us. I was never I always just assumed, everybody was on the same trajectory. I never thought about it in a way that was, because I know bands that I have their CDs, or I have like, they would give me their CDs and I would be like, oh man, this band is top notch. Like, I can't believe that these guys aren't signed and we are,
Yeah.
So again, I think I'm an appreciator of good music. And I do see, even back then, I saw everybody that we played with, even the bigger bands, as like, we're kind of all in the same boat together. If we're all sharing the same stage, then, or you find a band that, like there's a band called Maverick. Do you remember Maverick?
I don't remember Maverick. No.
Okay, so they were like a local, I want to say local New Jersey band, but it consisted of a couple different people. One of them being Mike Bell. Mike Bell's been around forever. He's actually in the band called Tiny Ships right now, and they're still playing. But I just remember them and listening to the music that they were putting out, and listening to what we were putting out, and be like, man, I wish that I was in that band. But they weren't signed. They, I think they got signed a little bit later on, but they were doing everything DIY, and I was just like, dude, like that. But they were making music that was like, I dream of making,
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that sufficiently answered your question.
No, it's
yeah. But like you said, like everything happened so fast for us. I don't think we got a chance to appreciate. Because we did work really hard. I mean, we hustled like crazy. This is back when MySpace was first or still active, and if we were playing
better social media sites.
Yeah, but if we were playing like a city or a town, we would just type in that town's name, like Lima, Ohio, or whatever, and anybody whose profile picture looked like they would like our music, we just kind of like sent them a message, and we're like, "Hey, come see us play," at the local VFW hall. I mean, we get like 200 or 300 kids to show up,
Yeah.
So we really hustled, especially early on. And again, I don't necessarily know if you could do that now and still get the same kind of effect, but back then, that's how you did it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you can do that now. I think that's, some of the detriment to like, local shows and trying to put together local shows. I try to do it, all the time, and trying to get as many people as you can out for bands that, what's funny is it's like bands that you haven't heard of necessarily, but it's like I know you like them, and I'll try to send shit out, DM people, email them, be like, hey, I really think you're gonna dig this band, and at the same time, it's like, yeah, nah, I'm not. I don't want to spend the $12 to go see 4 awesome bands that were put together and curated by somebody. It's a lot. I think it's so weird that it's harder now, but it's easier to reach people. But
Right. Well, how do you? I'll ask you a question about this. How do you find new music nowadays? Like, what's like the way that you go about finding someone who, um, uh, still fits your taste, but is like a newer band?
yeah, so my biggest thing is I spend hours on Bandcamp and searching for new stuff. My favorite part about Bandcamp is like how you can create your own genre, right? Like you can
Yep.
pick all these different types of things and it'll pop up these bands. And on that's how I found so many people that I've had on the show, because it's I find this music that I'm like, holy shit, they got like 4 albums out. These guys are fucking amazing, and they have 1,000 followers on Instagram and like 25 monthly listeners on Spotify. I'm like, these guys are fucking amazing. Like, how has no one found these guys? And that's, it's putting in the work, really. I mean,
Right.
it's me seeking that enjoyment of hearing something new, where a lot of people, when you were younger, you had more time or something just hit you differently, where my life is just, it's surrounded by music all the time. And I search for that feeling of hearing something new for the first time, like that. I
Right.
love that feeling, and if I can seek it out, that's really that I work hard at finding something I want to hear.
Yeah, I kind of do something similar. As you know, I work at at a brewery called Autodidact in New Jersey. If anybody,
Shout out Auto anniversary.
yeah, this weekend. But we get to pick whatever music we want to listen to when it's our shift, and I work all day on Sunday by myself, so like I don't have another person there to, say like, oh, this stinks or like whatever. So, um, I found this band from Chicago, and I'll shout them out. They're called Stalled, Stalled.
Uh-huh.
And when I first started listening to them, they had 197 listeners a month. Like they weren't like crazy popular, but I found a couple songs that they're shoegazy, like trippy grunge kind of music, and I just kind of like started listening to them, and then all of a sudden my algorithm is popping me up songs I've never heard before, people I've never heard of before. Again, going back to, they maybe have like 200 or 300 monthly listeners, so they're like real low, and I started adding them to these playlists that I have. And now I think like I've done it so much, and my algorithm is just like, here's something weird that like it's not really popular that you're probably going to like, and then I'm just like, oh yeah, I love this.
Yeah, what's funny too is like how the algorithm works, because for the show we have our page and everything, and Spotify will. It's funny, since I interview bands and artists that aren't huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll curate a playlist of like bigger bands in that era, which I'm just like, oh, okay, like I already know Oso, they're pretty big. I already know this, and it's like I would want the shit that isn't popular, the shit that's not on a polyvinyl records,
Right.
not on the, give me the stuff where it's like they're putting it out themselves, and like, and that's the hard thing about the algorithms. Like, yeah, it's cool, but like also the thing I hate about it is if a song pops in and I'm like, oh my God, this is fucking awesome, and I go to look at it and it's like the band has 2 singles, and I'm like, well, fuck that. Like I'm out. Like I'm never going back. I'm not going to try to keep following somebody that only has 2 singles out. I want to run the gambit of like front to back, beginning to end.
Yeah, I do. I really, like I said, this band, and if you ever come in on Sunday, like people will always say like, oh, your playlist is really good. It's literally their like Spotify radio. I just put it on and it just plays, but yeah, I mean, so I think it's important to like keep trying to find new music. So I do go on Bandcamp sometimes and try to like I look at a lot of shoegaze stuff because that's what I'm kind of into now. But yeah, so whenever I find them, I add them on Spotify, and I'm just like, yeah, hopefully it messes with my algorithm enough to give me some weird stuff.
Nice. And to any young listeners out there, you may hear the term shoegaze a lot. We I listened to a lot of shoegaze as well. And to educate you, it was actually a dig. It was a term that came up with all the music that people didn't like because they just saw the artist on stage staring at their shoes, so they called it shoegaze. That was really, it's fucking hysterical that it was a dig at all the great music that was coming out. But
yeah, I think it had a lot to do with the like how many pedals people were using, so they just kind of
staring
always
down,
looking at the ground. Yeah.
But let's get back to you in childhood. For music, there's like a couple pivotal moments. It's like the first time as a child that you hear something that means a lot, and then from that point, then it's when you find your own kind of style of music. But do you remember as a kid, like when you were growing up, like the thing that kind of as a small child that just made your ears stand up and really hear music for the first time?
You know, growing up in the '80s, there was, because I'm an '80s baby, right? So I was born in 1981. To age me, I'm not afraid of it. But you grow up in the '80s, and there was a lot of like, you know, like hair metal, and I don't think I was necessarily into that kind of stuff when I was younger. I also grew up in a pretty conservative household too, so we weren't allowed to listen to like AC/DC or like, you know, Guns N' Roses and stuff like that. So it's basically whatever was on the radio that I was allowed to listen to. And my parents really were into classic rock, so it was a lot of classic rock stuff, and a lot of like Yes and the Eagles and stuff like that. So I think my musical awakening from myself was probably in like the early '90s. And I could pinpoint two specific records that came out that kind of got me, you know, thinking like, okay, well, there's more out there than just, you know, whatever my parents listen to or whatever's on the radio. And the first one was Siamese Dream.
Yeah.
Dream by the Smashing Pumpkins. And that one, you know, I think everybody can attest to. You listen to the guitars on that, and it's just like, wow, like this is something I've never heard before. This is something different. And then the other one would be probably, I want to say Green Day's Dookie, because it was the first time in my life where I was like, wow, I like fast music. I like punk music. Like I want to dye my hair green. I want to, I want to wear like polyester pants and weird vintage shirts and, you know, have tattoos. So I think that's kind of like the two that pinpointed out to me. That was like, okay, well, this is like an awakening early on.
You go from like the technical aspect of a Smashing Pumpkins, where it's, you know, and then you go to, holy shit, I guess anybody can do it.
Yeah,
to the Green
if
Day.
I could just learn 3 power chords, I can be a rock star.
Yeah. And I think that's a huge influence. I always say that's Nirvana and Green Day's biggest influence, is that they prove that, hey, you don't have to fucking wear leather pants and, you know, look like the most beautiful male on the earth and play these guitar licks. You can just be you and fucking make music.
Yeah. I mean, again, you know, if we talk about like in my formative years, so like by the time I was 13 years old, I knew I wanted to learn how to play the guitar, right? So my dad had it. My dad's a musician. He had a bunch of guitars. He taught me how to play like a handful of chords. And then I just would go into my room and I would listen to the radio and I would just try to play along with whatever was playing. And then I started, you know, like you listen to songs and you're like, well, I can't make that sound with just like the chords my dad gave me. So what if I take that chord and like move it up? And like Tim, our guitar player from Royden, will tell you, I could curse, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So I told you could say anything.
Say anything. All right. But he'll tell you, he's like, I don't know what the fuck you're playing right now, but it sounds great, because it's just like, I don't know chords. I just know like what sounds good to me or what I think is like a cool chord. So whenever I'm writing songs, and even like people are like, oh, do you ever tab out the Royden songs? I'm like, dude, I don't even know what chord that is. It's like a A sus7 minor fifth or something like that. It's like crazy. Yeah. And
so you get to that point and you're starting to play guitar in your room. Did you, you know, as many kids, just rush out to find other people that were making music and try to start a band right away?
Yeah. So the short answer is no. I didn't start just trying to find kids to play music with. I again, like I said, I wasn't the best guitar player. I still don't think I'm a good guitar player. I still don't think I'm a good singer. Um, so I kind of one didn't feel like I was good enough to be in a band with somebody. I couldn't play solos. As who everybody can play rhythm guitar, so it's not like people need rhythm guitar players. um, but I was lucky enough that my brother actually, because he plays drums, always wanted someone to play with. So probably from the time I was like 13, 14 years old to the time he left for college when he was 18. um, he's older than I am by 2 years, but every day he would have me down there playing songs. He'd be like, "Hey, it was back during the grunge times. He's like, hey, learn, you know, this Pearl Jam song, learn this like Seven Mary Three song, learn this, I tried to play Tool. It's like impossible. Learn this, learn like this song, learn this song." So I would go in my room at night and I'd learn how to play it. The next night I'd go down there and him and I would just try to like jam it out and stuff like that. So, you know, I think like if when I'm writing music too, because he's such a, him and I have such like a cosmetic relationship. Not only because we're brothers, but because we've played music together for longer than I played with anybody else. It makes it pretty easy for me to write with him, and he will like follow along with like like a drum beat, or like I'll play something on the guitar and I'll be like, hey, can you just like during this fill just like follow along with whatever I'm playing, so I think that again, I wasn't in a band, but I got like that formative experience of being able to play with somebody and learn, and especially when you're learning other people's songs and how you can translate it into when you're writing later on in life. And I can just be like, like him and I basically don't even have to talk, and he knows exactly what I'm thinking when we're writing.
So how old were you when you got into your first band, and what was the name of the very first band you were ever a part of?
First band ever, probably I was like 19 or 20, and that name of that band was My Cousin Ray, and it was named after my cousin whose name is Ray.
Wow.
Yeah. we couldn't think of like a cool name for a band, and like Ray was like staying with us for the summer or something like that, and we were just like, let's call the band My Cousin Ray. Like, he's always around.
Yeah. Nice. Do you remember the first time that then you performed in front of strangers, and where it was and how you felt?
Yeah, first time it was in Elks Lodge. Was it in Elks Lodge? Yeah, in Mount Arlington, New Jersey, and it was a show. It was a ska show, which it's very funny. And we were the very first opening act for it. And back then, I still played guitar and sang at the same time, and we were a 4-piece. And yeah, it was nerve-wracking to say the least. I think I had like bright green hair. I was wearing like a Clash t-shirt. Yeah.
You're just being cool. I mean, you're just being cool.
Yeah, being
the cool kid.
The coolest 19-year-old in the room. We're trying to be.
Nice.
Cool.
How about do you remember the first concert you ever went to, and then the first concert you ever got to pick to go to? Because sometimes they're different, sometimes they're the same.
Yes, they were very different. The first concert that I ever went to was, I think, when my mom took my sister to see Color Me Bad and New Kids on the Block.
Nice.
And we ended up.
I want to sex you up. Like,
yeah.
Jesus.
But yeah, we're like way too young for Color Me Bad, but New Kids on the Block was like right in my sister's wheelhouse, and like I just got dragged along because it was like a family thing. Oh, we're all going to go to a show, and I think like me and my brother and my dad were kind of like, this is terrible. The first concert that I got to pick that I wanted to go see was the Misfits.
Wow.
Yeah. And I still have the t-shirt. Actually, my daughter wears it all the time, but I saw the t-shirt from that show.
Well, take care of that fucking shirt.
Yeah, no, she wears it all the time. And I'm like, you better be careful with that. That's like that. I told her the other day, I was like, please don't lose this. Don't give it to a boy. Don't give it to like your friends. Like, this is like my favorite shirt. Like, I've had this thing for, half of my life. Like, you can't take this away from me.
Where did you see them?
I saw them in Long Island.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a show. I remember my brother. He was 17 at the time, and he took he just got his license, and he took us all.
Nice, good brother.
Yeah.
Here's a question for Royden. If no one ever heard the band before, they've never heard the music, they don't know what it's about, and you tell someone you're in a band, and they're like, "Well, play me a song." Like, what one song from Royden would you play?
That's a great question. I'm not really sure that I know the answer to that, because it really would depend on the person and what I thought like their musical genre taste was. Off the EP, I think if I like a song off of there called Carabella, but like our two most popular songs are a song called Maiden Lies and another song called Murder of an Albatross, both of which are a little bit poppier. But yeah, I guess like if I was going to tell you what song to listen to, I would probably say something like off our new record, The Western End of the World. It's a two-part song. It's kind of fast. It's kind of a little aggressive. It's heavy at times, and then it goes into this like really slow, dramatic, like build-up break. That one's a cool one. If it was like my sister or her friends or like my daughter's friends or like whatever, I'd probably be like, oh, just go listen to Kid Tested. It's like our most pop accessible song that we have. It's like a 4-chord, verse, chorus, verse,
Yeah.
Good lyrics. Poppy, catchy.
Are any of those your favorite song you guys have ever recorded, or do you have like the signature one that's just like it just means the most to you? It's your favorite song you've ever laid down.
I think the favorite one I've done, just because it was a conglomerate of like all of us working together, is a song called "Our Little Razor Wire Piece of Heaven." It's a like a slower song, but it's got like piano, it's got like theremin in it, it's got like a bunch of different crazy stuff, and it was kind of it was the last song we recorded on our final record, and it was like more indicative of the way that we were going moving forward. Because the next record was kind of going to be like a little bit more like spacey and a little bit, like, again, bring that back up, a little bit more shoegazy.
Yeah.
But yes, I think that one's my favorite. Lyrically, it's good. Vocally, it's good. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first album that was gifted to you and then the first album that you bought yourself?
First album that was gifted to me was Sir Mix-a-Lot by my aunt. The one with Baby Got Back on it. Yeah, it might even have been called Baby Got Back. That was the first one. Yeah. I feel like the first one that I purchased myself that wasn't like a gift was probably Weezer's Blue record.
Wow. Yeah, it's about the time frame of your age bracket.
Yeah. Nice. But I love that one. Actually, I mean, everybody knows Pinkerton's the better one, but I'll throw the blue album on every once in a while.
Now, the Day of Freedom, especially for a kid in the 90s, like you get your driver's license and you get your driver's license first day of freedom. You got to be blasting music in the car. Do you remember what you were listening to?
Oh, heck yeah. I think I want to say Black on Both Sides by Most Def.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm all over the place, man. My musical taste is like, you could have me listening to like some like 90s rap. You could have me listening to like, the saddest song. I could be playing John Cicada's greatest hits. Like,
yeah.
Like it really just depends on my mood.
Yeah. Music's music, man. And that's why it's I try to say it's a judgment-free zone until I like walk into someone's house and they're playing like the worst pop country ever created. And I'm just like, oh, that's the only time I'll judge.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's probably the only genre I can't get into is country music.
Yeah. I've tried I've really tried. I've tried for so many different reasons. Like for some reason, my 80-year-old mother loves Jelly Roll. So we took her to a Jelly Roll concert. It was like a surprise gift. Just go pick her up on a Sunday and we go see Jelly Roll. And I was like, all right, look, who knows? Maybe I'll fucking turn. And I'm at the show and I was like, I don't belong. I'm the only person in this building right now that does not like any of this.
I mean, there are like Amy Weber. Do you know Amy Weber? Is it Amy Webster or Amy Weber? It might be Amy Webster. She has she's like a dirty like country singer. It's more like, I would say it's more indie country than it is like MJ Lenderman style.
Like real stuff, like not the stuff that has 14 songwriters and 17 producers on a song,
right? I mean, I'm a fan of anything that's unpolished to begin with. Like, I want to hear mistakes. I want to hear, guitars fuzzing out. I want to hear, voice cracks and breaths in between, lines.
Like, I mean, there's so many albums out there too that they left mistakes in that I fucking are just amazing. Like, I mean, you can hear Paul McCartney say "fucking hell" on a song, and they left it in there. Wrong piano chord and Sting laughing over it on a Police album, and voice cracking on "Gimme Shelter" on fucking Stones. Like, you can hear woman's voice completely crack like 3 times, and it's like that makes the fucking song.
Well, I think that too, but back then they were doing everything analog, so you didn't have like the luxury of just like, like, oh, we're just going to auto tune that and we'll pitch correct it in the background, and like no one will ever even notice. We'll just move on to the next line, And that's what when I recorded my vocals, this one thing I always said to whoever was recording me is like, as little auto tune as we possibly can get. I know they always throw a little bit on there just to keep it like a little, closer to what you were trying to do. And then I said, if there's mistakes, just assume I did it on purpose and let's just move on. Like, I don't want to be here all day trying to hold one chord, Yeah.
I know you gave us 2 albums before, which was Siamese Dream and Dookie, but like, do you have like 3 albums that mean the most to you in your life?
Oh, heck yeah. So again, we'll go back kid of the 90s right here, but Tiny Music from the Vatican Gift Shop by Stone Temple Pilots is probably, if not my favorite record, one of my top five. We talked yesterday, or yeah, it was what was that, Wednesday night?
Wednesday. Yeah.
I ran into you and I was talking about Small Brown Bike, but Dead Reckoning by them also, you know, a top record for me. It just, I think that was the album that changed me from just punk or just wanting to liking punk to liking, more of like, I don't want to say emo, because I don't think that necessarily is what they are, but like a post hardcore, indie kind of
Yeah,
more
hard driven
accessible.
guitars, a little
Yeah.
raspier vocals, and
Yeah.
just punching drums, you feel like you're getting hit in the face with some of those songs.
Yeah, for sure. And then, uh, you know, I just, again, I like all kinds of music, and I like music so much. So it's hard for me to pick. I would say those two are probably, if I was going to say like, oh, there's only, 2 hours to live, what do you want to listen to? I'd probably be, one followed by the other. Um, yeah. And then, let me think, because that's a really good question. Probably the Tane by the Decemberists.
Wow.
It's a 5-song EP. It basically is one song front to back.
Yeah.
And it's just like 5 songs that roll into each other. It's like the Tane part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5. Yeah.
Nice. How about a band in your life that never lets you down? It's just like the constant. You always just turn it on when you want to listen to something and you don't know what to listen to.
That's also a good question. I have like an ever growing playlist kind of. So like I would probably go to that. It's a bunch of different songs from a bunch of different genres. But if I had to pick one that I'm like, oh yeah, I'll always listen to this, and it always puts me in like, it's like my go-to if I don't have any idea, I would say, it's gonna sound silly, but Meatloaf's "Bad Out of Hell."
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want you to think about that record, right? Front to back hits, like almost every single one of them. Like you could give that record to someone and they would listen and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, every single song on this I know."
Yeah, Steinem nailed it on that. Like,
yeah.
Steinem nailed that album, and it's so funny that when I look at Meatloaf's "Bad Out of Hell," it's like that's it. Like, there's nothing else. Like, it's when you create something like that, there's nowhere to go but down. And it also, like, at the same time that it's great, it sucks because that's all you got. You can never do anything again.
Yeah, I mean, and I wouldn't say that like he could never do anything like that again. He did have some hits afterwards, obviously, but like, you just think about the track list on that thing, like it's insane. Like how many like just bangers, like every single one of them.
I do like that, and that was very surprising that's it. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, like right, like "Bad Out of Hell," a 9-minute song to start it off, right? Yeah, like you took the words right out of my mouth. "Heaven Can Wait," all revved up with "No Place to Go," right? You turn on your local classic rock station on a Saturday, you'll hear 3 of those songs in a 4-hour period of time.
Yeah.
Like then you flip it over, right? You have 2 out of 3 Ain't Bad, which is like, if I'm thinking about Meatloaf, besides like, Paradise by the Dashboard Lights and like, what was the one that he did in the 90s? I Won't Do That. Anything for Love. Yeah. Those are the 2 that I would be like, okay, those are like his like pop, like most accessible ones. But like 2 out of 3 Ain't Bad is like number 3 for me, right? Paradise by the Dashboard Lights, and then For Crying Out Loud, we're talking, it is a 7-song record, and out of those 7 songs, all 7 of them are like number 1 hits. Yeah. It's wild.
Wow, I love that. All right, now from that, let's go to your guiltiest of pleasures an artist that you listen to a ton of that would completely like shock the world. Like, you get caught listening to it. And I say that we are older gentlemen in our life, and there is no shame, but I always say that there still is a millisecond of dread when someone catches you listening to it.
Oh, I have no shame, but I would say that person is John Cicada. Yeah, him or Seal. I love Seal.
I could never get into Seal for some reason. I mean, I think he popped. I was probably just getting out of high school when he broke, or I was already out of high school when he broke, and it was just like I'm like I can't do this. Like I've tried to, like I've tried to put it on because I'm one of those people, like I know what I don't like because I've tried it, right? Like I know what I don't like to eat because I've tried to eat it before. I know what I don't like to listen to because I've put in the work. I'm not a person who hears a song and goes, yeah, I don't like that. Like I'll be like, why does everybody like this so much? So I'll try to put in the work, and at the end of that, I'm like, yeah, no, it's not for me.
Yeah, I like I said, I don't really have any shame or like, and I can appreciate music for whatever. I always say I'll always find something good about any song, even if it's the worst song in the world. There's always a glimmer in there of something that. So,
all right. How about, is there a band you had an opportunity to see, but you didn't, and now you never can? So like it's your biggest missed show regret.
Oh, that's a good question. With all these bands getting back together, it's kind of hard to say. Like, you wish you would have saw them in their prime.
Yeah,
I guess. But I don't think that there was. I had an opportunity when I was younger to see Wu-Tang Clan and Rage Against the Machine in concert, and I didn't go just because like I think my mom would let me or something like that. And I kicked I've seen Rage Against the Machine by themselves, well, not by themselves, but with other people live, and I've seen Wu-Tang Clan perform live, but I feel like that concert, because of how culturally significant it was for like 1997, like I feel that would have been the one that I kick myself now for not going, and all my friends went and they had a great time, and like
yeah, I get it. My biggest and I try not to live life with regrets. It was got invited to go see Temple of the Dog, and I was like, there's only fucking 10 songs, and I heard Vedder's not going to be there, so why would I go see that? And then now I never can. So
yeah. I mean, but I've seen Pearl Jam. I saw Stone Temple Pilots when Scott Weiland was still alive. I went to Woodstock '99. I saw a million bands there. So, I don't think I have any regrets. I think more so now is I wish I could go currently. I wish I could go see more concerts. I just don't have the time to expend to a couple hours in the city on a Wednesday night to go see.
Yeah, fucking Tuesday night in Brooklyn to see a band you want to see. Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And anymore, like the bands I want to go see aren't playing at like PNC Bank Arts Center. They're playing at like some like taco place in the basement in like Red Hook.
Do you have any shows on, like, do you have tickets to a show on the horizon that you're excited for, or is there a show coming up with this year that you're excited to go see?
Yeah, I'm gonna go see Microwave play.
Nice. They're so
down
good.
in Philadelphia. Yeah, I think they're playing at the Fillmore. I'm going to go see them in like a couple weeks, and then in June I'm going to go see Joyce Manor play down at the Summer Stage at Asbury.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, Microwave, a band. It's for some reason I don't know. I don't know if I don't pay attention enough, or it's like I just don't think they get the love they deserve. I think they're just fucking dynamite. Since the moment I first heard their first song, I was just like, these fucking guys are awesome. And I've had an opportunity to see them a bunch of times, but it's like, to me, it's still like the crowds aren't the way they should be. Like this band is like fucking amazing.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like whenever they played, I think they opened for somebody over the summer at the Summer Stage in Asbury Park. So again, those are the two shows that I have on the horizon. Obviously, I always try to look to see who's playing. I like going down to Asbury Park and seeing who's playing at like the smaller venues.
Yeah. Wonder Bar.
Yeah, Wonder Bar, the Lanes. I mean, to Stone Pony, the indoor
Yeah.
House of Independence down there. I think they're trying to open up another one too.
Yeah,
But,
I mean, well, the Saint just closed, which was another good one to see. Like, those bands that aren't big enough for lanes or something, but that fucking closed, which sucks.
mm-hmm.
Do you remember the last record that you purchased or last album that you physically purchased?
One that I physically purchased?
Yeah.
Last album that I physically purchased, like a new one?
Just the last thing that you bought, musical album that you bought.
That is also a really good question. I'd have to,
I own a record store, man, so I have to know what people are buying.
well, too. Like, if I'm buying stuff, I'm probably only buying it
for your
vinyl.
daughter.
Yeah, but I'm also probably only buying it on vinyl, right?
Yeah.
And most of the time, I'm probably buying it from you. So, what was the last thing I got from you? Don Trulio or something? Yeah. And The Weeknd?
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
all right. Love it. Do you have like a time machine song, like a song every time it comes on, like it brings you back to that exact moment where you smell the smells, you can see the sights? Like, do you have a song like that that's just like your constant time machine?
Literally anything from like 1994, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I can remember things like with my Discman sitting in McDonald's, like eating a double cheeseburger meal, with my friends, listening to like Lump by the President of the United States of America or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
she's Lump.
Yeah. But like anything from that kind of genre, it will always bring me back to like, seventh grade to freshman year in high school, when I was, because I think I graduated in 1999. So, like 94, 95, 96, like, again, you look at that time frame in music and the bangers were coming out then. Like,
I'd say it's the biggest like revolution. Everybody points to like late 60s, early 70s of this revolution of different styles of music and we know what we know because we were there. But for me, like the constant, you go back to 94 to 99 and you look at the number one song every week, it was a different genre of music. Like, and there were new genres of music coming out at the time, and it was such a huge explosion of this crazy new stuff that it's like I haven't seen it since.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Like, again, like living through it, like my daughter says, "Oh, it must have been great growing up in the '90s," and I'm like, "Yeah, no, it wasn't all it was cracked up to be." I think I appreciate it more now because you look back and you're like, wow, that was really kind of like a formative, or transformational. How about that? There was a transformational time in music where it went from, the hair metal pop of the 80s into this kind of like, I don't want to say like Seattle rock doldrums and the grunge, and everybody everything got a little heavier, and then you got like techno music that came out and that kind of like changed into its own genre of stuff.
Chemical Brothers, Daft Punk got big,
yeah. And then you start getting really heavy stuff like like Napalm Death and like things that you wouldn't normally listen to that now because you're into like certain bands. Like I like White Zombie, right? And then next thing I know, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll like this band, or maybe I'll like this band, and all of a sudden they're showing up on like soundtracks for movies that I like, and and I think that's another thing is like you had these soundtracks that were coming out, like for The Crow, like the Crow soundtrack was front to back amazing songs, and it was all B-sides of like your favorite artists like Rage Against the Machine and Stone Temple Pilots. And that actually is that more than their first record, I think that's the one that blew Stone Temple Pilots up, was their song from The Crow,
Yeah, I mean, that was the greatest formation of like compilation. I mean, Crow singles, my favorite Pearl Jam song, State of Love and Trust, is on that. There were so many awesome fucking things that, the movies, the soundtracks were fucking great. And I mean, you look now, I mean, they cost people so much to buy the fucking rights to put together a fucking album like that. I mean, I think the last like great one might have been like Garden State or something, you know?
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. But I was even thinking like there's this like one-off like teen movie called Angus. Do you remember Angus?
Yeah, Angus. I have it on vinyl. Yeah,
right. That literally that soundtrack is amazing, so amazing. And then like there was other ones like Nirvana did a song for like this charity compilation CD that also had a bunch of really awesome bands on it as well. And they had like this like one-off B-side track from like Bleach that they just put out and on that record, and that record sold like 1 million copies, and it was for like a charity. I can't remember what it was for.
No, it wasn't Sweet Relief. It will. I know what it is.
Yeah, you know the one I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. All right. Let's get to the hard part of the show. We bring it down a tiny bit here, and you got 5 minutes left to live. Meteors hurling into the earth, and you can only listen to one song. What one song are you listening to?
Probably something sad, like Miss Misery by Elliott Smith or something like that.
Yeah. All right. An unfortunate incident has just happened. Your domicile is burning to the ground. All living things are out safe and sound, even the mice. And you can run back in to grab one musical thing that means the most to you. What are you running back in to grab? Let's say your daughter ran out with the Misfit shirt on, so you don't have to go back for that.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. One musical thing that I would grab, I mean, something that's not replaceable. I don't know. I think I would probably grab I have like a bunch of these, photos from when we were in Royden that, we would take on disposable cameras and it's all in like one photo album. I'd probably go back in and grab that just because I know there's no replacing those. And even though they're like burned into my memory, it's always good to have something like that.
I love that answer.
Yeah. And, cause like guitars can be replaced, amps can be replaced, pedals can be replaced, even vinyl records can be replaced, even though I'd be like heartbroken that I have like hundreds of vinyl records. But it's not worth going back in to save. Yeah. So it would probably something more sentimental like that. Or, I think that would probably be it. Yeah.
I love that. That's great. Do you have a piece of memorabilia that like you get to look at all the time or touch that means the most to you other than that photo album? Like could be an album or a poster or, not the t-shirt. We know about the t-shirt, but like, I asked that because I sit here and I'm looking at, in my studio, I have my original fucking art print of the cover of Elliott's False Cathedrals and my autographed poster by Frightened Rabbit, and it's things that, never going to get back.
Yeah. I mean, specifically to Royden or to something like just in general?
Just in general that you have. Yeah.
I have a poster for Small Brown Mike's The Riverbed CD release show. That's a limited edition Derek Hess poster. It's like number 360 out of like 800 and something. But yeah, I'm actually, my friend Kate was Derek Hess's assistant, and I was in Cleveland and we were hanging out, and I was like, oh, Small Brown Bike. I love that band. He just gave it to me. So,
That's awesome.
And it's signed by him, and there's a couple other signatures on it, but it just hangs in my dining room. And every once in a while, someone will be like, "Oh, that's cool." And they don't know who Small Brown Bike is. So, I'm like, "Yeah, it is pretty cool. It's a cool poster."
Yeah, nice. Well, I don't want to keep you here all day. I know you got to work. You work from home, so just you taking the time out to do this is pretty awesome. And before we get to the final segment of the show, I just want a huge heartfelt thank you for doing this. It's so cool to know you. It's so cool to just meet someone and immediately fucking click, and it's all because of the great thing we have in our life, which is music. So, Steve, thank you so much for just even putting music out into the world, putting your soul out there for people to judge. It's not lost on me that what people do and what they create is really important. And, we just hope that more people have an opportunity to listen to what you've done in your life. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Well, I do appreciate you having me on too. And I will, give you the sentiment back. It's great, getting to know you over the past, 2 years now.
Yeah.
And having like a friendship where, we talk about music, but we talk about other stuff too. So I always tell people the hardest thing in life is to find friends later in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do appreciate your friendship, and I appreciate you, taking the time even to talk to me. I think I'm a pretty boring person, but when you start talking to people and they're like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I do this, 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 and I did this." And then they're like, "Wow, you did a lot of stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, you gotta live."
Yeah. I mean, I tell people all the time, like people ask me, like, if you look at my life and my, I would just say my life trajectory, it's just like people are like, holy shit, you've done a lot. I'm like, I just can't sit still, man. Like I'm only here for a certain amount of time. So I'm just going to do what I got to do and do what I love to do. And hopefully some of the shit works out, like that's it.
Right.
When you sit and wait for something to happen, it's never going to happen. So go and try and do it.
I can't sit still, and I try not to say no. All right.
Yeah.
If someone asks me for something or asks me to do something, I'll always be like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife's trying to get me to calm down with like when people ask me, it's like especially people that I respect and admire and enjoy being around and like, get asked to do things at auto. I say yes to everything. She's like, you got to slow down. You're doing way too much. I'm like, yeah, but if I slow down, I might die. So this is the only way I know to. It's the only way I know to do things is to just do it and say yep, and I'll be there and do it.
Right.
All right. Our final segment of the show is our weekly threes. It's 3 things you're listening to that you would like people to check out. You're going to give 3 things you're listening to that you would like people to check out. Then I'll give my 3.
Yeah. Like I mentioned earlier, this band from Chicago, they're called Stalled. They have a full length record out. It's called Dust Inside a Dream. It is great. Listen to it. You're going to like it. There's another band. Hold on. The other band is called Frontega, and they have a song called Blush that's really good. If you're into that kind of music, also a very, very cool band. And then what's it? I mean, I always listen to, and I will continue to listen to, and I probably will say this is, we'll go back to guilty pleasures and stuff like that, but Never Enough by Turnstile, always in a weekly rotation still after almost a year. So I think those are my 3. So yeah, Dust Inside a Dream by Stalled, Frontega, their song called Blush is good. That's in the rotation. And then Turnstile. Literally nice. Any Turnstile. It doesn't have to be Never Enough, but
Nice. All right, my 3 for this week. My first one you'll like. Hopefully you go check it out. It's called Be Forest. The name of the album is Nocturne. It's an Italian shoegaze band. Ooh. Next is an artist that goes by the name of Medium Build. Singer, songwriter, just really fucking. We were talking about like that, maybe like indie country type of stuff, but like really fucking good. Think like Ray LaMontagne or something.
Okay.
And last but not least is a band called Ringlets. The Lord is My German Shepherd is the name of the album. They're a New Zealand like indie gaze band. Nice. But those are my 3. But
very cool.
Treebo, thank you so much again for being here. This has been a great mid part of my day. So this is pretty awesome. Breaks up the monotony of a fucking crazy Friday. But thank you again so much for being here. Thank you for everything you do and continue to do. Enjoy seeing you. I will see you tomorrow, I guess.
Can I do the Royden shout out?
Yeah.
Check it out. I mean, like I have no skin in the game. I don't really get paid for this stuff anyway, but
does anybody?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. But Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you stream, 2 records are In the House of Addicts, and the other one is Best Friends, Our Worst Enemies. Those are our two big ones. And then you can find us on Bandcamp as well. We have a single up there that recorded in 2020. It's called Pale Horses. It's basically about like, unleashing the apocalypse on the world. And we wrote it during the pandemic. So, it's
during an apocalypse.
Yeah. So it's a story about opening Pandora's box, basically. So
awesome. We'll tag all that when the show comes out. And it's a great segue into where we're going right now. And everybody, you know what time it is. It's time to go out, listen to Royden, and have a great fucking time.
Around us now to the beating of your heart.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.